Welcome to the Shortwave radio channel, and a lot of people are asking me if I still enjoy using my Choyong LC90. So this, of course, is the famous hybrid radio that does it all: smart radio, internet radio, as well as a shortwave radio with single sideband. And I would say that if they had not made that change in the first firmware, where the birdies were gone, probably I would not be using it much. But that firmware update that removed the birdies in the radio makes this such an interesting and nice device now that I actually am using it. Now, the main thing that still bogs me down, and that I really hope they can fix it with firmware 4.6 that they are testing right now, is the single sideband, which is not good. It is reversed. So if you're lucky that the signal is on the frequency correctly, you're fine. You're going to be able to punch in the frequency and hear what you want in upper or lower sideband. The problem is when the signals or the stations are off frequency. And of course, you want to match. Try imagining listening to a pirate station plays music. Music is the most difficult thing to actually accurately listen to in single sideband, because you got to be on the pitch if you want to hear the music correctly. And if the stations is correctly on the pitch, the radio isn't too far off, it's pretty good. But if the station's really off, like amateur radio stations sometimes are off, they'll be on a half frequency, half a kilohertz instead, depending on how many stations are on the band. Well, that's where it becomes a problem. Trying to tune or fine-tune to the correct tone is impossible because it's reversed. It has to be the correct way. It's upper sideband needs to move up to go tune. This one goes down, and once you go down and change the kilohertz, it doesn't work anymore. So that's the most annoying thing of this radio for me. For the rest, okay, it overloads quite a lot on external antenna, but then again, a lot of portables do also. So I use it on telescopic, and it's fine, and I can hear a lot of stuff with the telescopic anyway. But for the rest, if they fix that, this becomes a really, really interesting radio. Now, you can't compare this much to a lot of other radios. A lot of people are asking me, this or the XH Data D808, this or a Texan PL990, this is a unique category in a radio. So unless the appeal of having web radio, internet streaming, is interesting to you, stick with a standard shortwave radio, because they perform well and get the good models that actually work better than what this one does actually. But this is where the appeal is are you interested in having streaming services, listening to the BBC online, Voice of America, whatever? Well, this hybrid radio does it all, so yeah, you can do that. And I think this is where it has its own unique niche market. It can't be compared to another shortwave radio for the fact that this isn't just a shortwave radio. It's also a smart radio. So I can't, if somebody tells me, a Choyong LC90 or, Texan PL330, what are you looking for? Is the question that I will probably ask you. You're looking for something that will also stream? If that is yes, then yeah, the Choyong. But if anything streaming or internet radio for you is not interesting, look at a standard radio. Look for a Texan or whatever good receiver out there, because that's what you want. And those perform a little better than this. I mean, this one's sensitive. It does get most of the signals and even the weak signals. But if you're a real DXer, we'll put external antennas and all of that. Yeah, some other radios are better than this. So I think the real question here is, if you want to have a radio that does it all, this is where you look at the Choyong LC90. I once again am amazed that somebody has honestly done such a radio. I mean, it's crazy to see this package. I do use it quite often, and I do listen to shortwave quite a lot. This radio, I share streaming and shortwave. I'd say about 60% shortwave, 40% streaming. Like I did the other day, a video about it is, I'm listening to shortwave. There's some interesting stuff. I listen to the shortwave bands, listen to my favorite stations, tune around utilities sometimes, or search the AM bands. But if it becomes boring and I see that at a certain time in the day there's nothing interesting on the shortwave bands, boom, what do? You press the menu button or the news button and you go into the internet radio side, and then you go stream something that you want to listen to. One of the things I've been enjoying streaming is Radio Australia. It's kind of cool in a way because it reminds you of Radio Australia in the good old days. Of course, it's not shortwave. A lot of people will bog down on that and say, well, it isn't shortwave and you shouldn't be talking about that. Radio's a radio. And even I talked about the AAW, the portable internet radio with FM. I think internet radio has its place on this channel too, because some people are interested in that part of listening. And all the technical geeks are coming like, well, this is a PC terminal no, it's a radio, okay? It has the shape of a radio, and it's a wireless, so it has radio waves coming in and out. I don't care if it's mostly a PC inside to do something. It's still a radio. It has the form of a radio, and yeah, I am okay with the term internet radio. That's all. But, I'm having fun. Absolutely. I see some of you that are on the edge of buying it. One thing I know is that they're fixing a lot of things on the next firmware. It'll be very interesting in the next firmware to see how much better it gets. One that I'm hoping really, really a lot is an easier way to do a text search for internet radio stations. If that could come and it works well, that will help the internet radio side, because right now it's a little hard to go through and try to find anything. If they could make it better, that would improve the internet radio side of it. Fix single sideband. Fix the search for stations on the internet side. This becomes a really interesting device suddenly. Maybe some of you will finally have the trigger. I will be mentioning and probably doing kind of another updated review when the firmware 4.6 arrives. This will, show us up to what point what they fixed. Once again, I applaud Choyong Radios for being very proactive, listening to everybody. I mean, they're on my Facebook group. They're everywhere asking, what could you improve? Thank you for your comments. We want to make this a better radio. And, they've already improved it a lot. I was very scared at the beginning. The famous birdies were so much of a problem that it was impossible for me to give this radio good grades. No more birdies. This radio really got up a notch, and it's become up there in some of the interesting radios to look at. Only thing missing once again is single sideband. If you can fix that so it works correctly, once again it's going to go up a notch, and maybe that's going to trigger some people to buy it. I know a lot of you are intrigued on this radio and find it interesting. Some of those that say this is a little expensive, look, for what you've got in here as a hybrid radio, both shortwave with SSB plus a internet radio in a same package, plus it actually accepts SIM cards and stuff like that. I don't believe it's an expensive radio, honestly. It has so much technology in it that it actually is fine. So I don't know. It's kind of cool. If you put the display off, because you see here, I put the display always on because I like it like that. But if you want to have good battery life, keep the display with, that shuts down automatically after a few seconds, things like that. And you get a decent battery life. On the radio side, you get a very long battery life. When you're just listening to shortwave, I notice the battery indicator is really sticking up there. Doesn't use a lot of power. It uses more power in your internet radio side of things. So battery lasts less, but still, you got a decent battery life out of this, and I can't complain too much about it. The only thing I will complain is maybe sometimes if you leave the radio without plugged in or anything, don't use it for a week. The battery will already be drained somewhat, so it does use some battery while it's off. But definitely I'm having fun with this, and we'll see. We'll see what the next update. Those that are on, I don't know if I should buy it or not. Wait until 4.6 is out and see if the things they fix, are interesting to you. And I think could be surprised at how good it becomes. I'm already surprised that they are able to fix all the birdies just with a firmware update. So it's kind of cool. So that's my little updates, and we're going to wait for the next firmware and talk more about the Choyong LC90, which is a very unique hybrid radio, honestly. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.